Welcome to Joy of the Garden and Home, New York Zone 60, with the average last frost date of mid-May, maybe early May. Holy heat wave. It feels like the middle of July out here, and it is only mid-April. But I really want to get the garden tour series started, so let's start here on the front porch. The one plus of getting this heat wave is that I can get some of my annuals out and experiencing some of this nice weather. Starting with a pepper plant here. This was actually overwintered, and this is a ghost pepper. I'm very happy with how this turned out compared to its brethrens. This is a new seeding of lettuce. This is an old seeding of dill. These need to be uppotted. This is going to be my busy work next week. Here is some celery doing well, some giant celery. This is cilantro. This and this are my pomegranates. One is a wonderful and another one is called cold hardy red. So these are about ready to go into the ground. I just need the cool weather back, which I will get. This is early sowing of onions. I've got kohlrabi, cauliflower, more onions. Down here we have tomatoes and eggplants. Some tomatoes doing really nice. Oh, here's the basil starting to reach out to the light. These are my eggplants, a little bit riddled by aphids. I've been spraying that. Here's a very nice looking specimen of ginger. More eggplants. Down here, more tomatoes and also some ground cherries. I have about 19 or so varieties of tomatoes out here. There's more somewhere. I've got also some peppers. I forget how many peppers. I think also a dozen varieties of peppers. This is fennel. So some of these can be planted out, but because of the heat wave, I put it off because I didn't want them to just go bolting on me. Artichokes, which I had to sow a much later bunch than my first batch because those did not do well. These are collard greens and some Brussels sprouts. A few more eggplants that are a little bit smaller, some Thai chili, some other peppers. This is a whole tray of cilantro. I didn't know what these seeds were, so I sowed them all, and it turned out they're all good and they're all cilantro. And this is an old batch of lettuce that needs to be planted out as well. And I doubt I'll be planting this out. This is basil, but I might propagate it and replant it. Here is my latest sowing of seeds. Let's see what we got here. We have borage, chamomile, lovage, lemongrass, lupin, and nasturtium flowers here. Mostly flowers, some herbs. So that's just been started recently. Here are some more established, some peppers. This was a mystery plant until recently. Obviously, it is a Aunt Molly's green. No, I don't know if it's Aunt Molly's because it came in a seed packet. And usually the ground cherries I grow are Aunt Molly's. But this, we shall see. More peppers. And then a second sowing. Oh no, these leeks. This is a second sowing of the onions. This was a first sowing of the onions. We have some parsley here, some Asian greens, tatsoi, bok choy, pak choy. And over here we have more greens, Brussels sprouts, cabbages, broccolis. This, it's solid in here. So I'm going to take it out and see what the root looks like. But this is supposed to be a hardy kiwi that I bought from the big box store and it died pretty quickly. Over here I am trying to get some lobelia and Johnny jump ups going. It's been so hot. Maybe next week we'll see some sprouting. One of the things I love about spring is seeing what comes up or what comes back up. And this little heuchera here is one of them. And it's just in like a three, this is not deep. It's like a cone shape, maybe 3 inches deep, and it survived. So that is so cool. And I also seeded some more Johnny jump ups in here. I've watered this, I swear, but it's dry as a bone because it's just that type of weather. These are assorted of flowers and herbs that really need to get out of that little seed cell. Here are some recent sowings of cucumbers. I don't know what's going on with the beans. I need to re-sow that, it looks like, because they should have come up already. And then we have zucchini, yellow squash, and butternut squash in this tray. Now, zucchinis are just popping. So these two are missing. The other ones, they're coming along. We'll see how tomorrow goes. So coming around, these crates are holding potatoes. Now, I think I'm going to have to do something about these because I don't think I did this right. I did not put soil as my base for them. And I think in the long run, that's going to be a detriment. They started growing, so that's a good sign. But like I said, I think I'm going to have to do something about that. Then I have some little strawberry plants right there. So one of the surprises of the season, one of two, is the celery. So this grow bag I had sitting like on the grass right there by the where it starts to go up. And it just sat there all winter long. No cover, no nothing. Some mulch, I guess. But yeah, I didn't think it would continue to live, but it did. So now I get to enjoy some greens, some celery greens with my lunch salads and stuff. Awesomeness. Here are a few of my contribution to this space. The daffodils were here before me, but the alliums, which have not popped up yet, are coming along. The muscaries I also planted, so that's there. So there were supposed to be earlier varieties of the alliums, but I did not see them. So either they did not survive the winter, or they were replanted by the critters, or eaten. It could be either or. All right, let's go. Let's make our rounds. There were sweet peas planted along, but they were taken out pretty early on, which is pretty constant. So I should really learn my lesson and stop planting them there. Whatever lives in these hedge or bushes like to eat whatever I plant in. Something I'm not really sure just yet what this is. I think it might be hollyhock, but it could be something else completely. So we'll have to wait and see what that ends up being. There are a couple of sweet peas over here, which is further away from the bushes, that are struggling to survive. So we might yet still get some. There's another one over here somewhere. We might yet get something come up for that. But see, this is the hollyhock. So whatever that other one was, might something else. But I did reseed the sweet peas, so hopefully we'll get another batch of those to plant out. This did really well. The lamb's ear, I'm very happy. Some cleaning up to do, plenty of cleaning up to do. So that is a reason for these videos, is to show me what needs attending to. So this bed I tried to sow like just wildly, hoping for whatever comes up wildflowers wise. Hollyhock self seeds and comes up on its own. This is something, I don't remember what, and it's come back. So we'll have to wait and see what this ends up being. It looks like some kind of succulent. I don't know. And this campanula I did plant, so it's looking a little withered right now, but hopefully it will adjust soon enough. Another hollyhock. This is a Rudbeckia, or what's the other word for it? That's what that is. And that's pretty much seeded itself from up the yard over there. Its mother is over there. This, something else planted here. This is one of my fall plantings. This is a hyacinth. I'm so excited that it made it. Yay! It looks so strong. It's gonna smell so good when it is mature. So I'm still working on the space, filling it up. We'll see what grows up here in the future. Old reliable. We have our stinging nettle coming back and our comfrey coming back. I love that these exist. And they're always here. Unfortunately, looks like they're starting to travel, so I have to keep watch on that because I don't want that to happen in this space. But this does get mowed, so hopefully that will help to keep it down. Down here, this is the white mulberry I planted last year. Doing really nice. It looks strong. I'm very happy to see that. Now here, that hole, and there's a hole over there, were honeyberries, but they did not make it. So now these holes are going to be filled with the pomegranate that I showed you earlier. So under here, I was hoping to protect that little bit of green there is the emerald carpet raspberry, I believe it's called, but it doesn't look very good. Well, hopefully it comes back, from the roots, more green. Oh, I do have more honeyberries. I reordered the honeyberries, so I will continue like a line here of trees, fruiting trees or shrubs. This is one of the apple trees. Looking okay. Luckily, they haven't budded yet. This is a pear. It has budded, but it's okay because it doesn't have a partner, so it's not going to fruit anyway. Here's another of the apples. I need to take it down a bit more, but I've tried to be good with pruning the inside and all that. And here's another one. This is the only one whose name is marked as Malus silversii. One of our favorite trees that bloom in the spring. We really look forward to this beautiful pinkness. One of the many plants in the periphery that I forget about sometimes is this sea berry. I did go ahead and get a partner for it, so hopefully someday we'll have some sea berry fruits. All right, getting back to the annuals. No, not really. Well, this is a bed that has not much going on right now, but it does have yarrow that comes back every year. I believe that's a collard that lives through the winter. There should be chamomile seedlings coming up in this space eventually. We also have baby foxgloves, and I believe those are feverfew getting away from me. They are everywhere. There should be sweet williams here too, but I'm not seeing it, so I don't know if it got taken out in the winter or what. That would be sad. I'd have to replant. And more yarrow over here, and then my thyme on the corners there. And there should be like cilantro plenty also, because those drop seeds around here and there's no reason for them not to come back up. But otherwise, there's a whole lot of weeds. Oh, oregano. There's oregano here because those overwinter and I have some plants. So there's also that. So over here we have the mother Rudbeckia. Where did I plant it? I always forget. Oh, here we go. So this is the mother plant. This was a friend's. They had moved out of their home and they had this plant and I wanted some, so she let me have some. And I planted it here and it's thriving and now it's moved itself over. Continuing on to more nothingness. These containers are supposed to house my rice plants at some point. We'll see. Now this I was able to do, like, was it yesterday or the day before? I overwintered this fig, the Chicago Hardy. Oh no, this is not the Chicago Hardy. Where is that? No, that's in the ground. This is unknown, but it's had quite a life. It made it through the winter inside. So now it is getting life outside. I'm hoping it actually fruits, even though it's kind of small right now, but it's gone a lot farther. It's a lot farther along than the in-ground plants. So it might give me something. And then if it does, I'll bring it in the winter and hopefully continue that along. This bed has not much in it right now. None of the beds have anything in them right now, really, other than like I did sneak in a few spinach plants a few weeks back, but these two either overwintered or seeded themselves or were seeds that just sat dormant and did nothing until now. So I do have some early spinach there. The onions I definitely planted and they just never got picked, or I didn't, I left them alone and then they did their own thing. So they are there. There's also a couple of beets. Everything is struggling right now because it's so hot, but it's wet in here. I swear. This is another empty little bed that I dropped a store-bought onion that had gone off, and every year it gives me more seeds, but it doesn't seem to reseed itself, so I don't understand that. Unless that's what these are. I don't know. We'll see. And then in my last video, I did replant or plant some yellow wonder strawberries, little baby ones, amongst the established ones that haven't given me much fruit. So we'll see what we get on here in this year. Also in the last video, I showed you this area with the hydrangeas. They're starting to get the greenery on them. Even that one, the limelight. Yeah, that's the limelight. Up here, I have a black currant bush that's coming back. I don't do much with these plants. They do what they do. So yeah, someday when they get bigger and produce actual fruity fruits, then I'll take care of them then. For now, they live or they die. This has been living, so kudos to that plant. Now I'm never sure quite what to expect. But it looks like this grape did survive the winter. So that's coming back, but it's coming back all the way at the bottom. Because I trimmed it, but I think something else trimmed it after I did. This one, let's see, how is this one doing? Okay, this one's also back up. We've got buds. Yay. I shouldn't have trimmed this, but I did. So that's that. But I believe this one, not so much. I don't think it was a good idea to put it in a pot in the soil, because that exposed too much of the root zone to freeze instead of being in the ground. So sadly, I don't think this one's going to come back. But we will, get another one and plant it there. One of the really big jobs of the spring is cleaning out the chickens and the chicken coop. Well, not the chickens. Doing the compost. I gotta turn the compost, collect, the usable stuff, turn them over. And that's one of the reasons I'm looking forward to the cool down in the spring, because it is way too hot right now to do any of that kind of labor. So here's an area that I need to get into because these multiflora roses are in the way of the elderberry. So the elderberry came back, looking good. This one, not so much. This one's looking rough. Only one of these stems look healthy. So I'm going to have to trim that back and try to help this one along. Down here, we usually have a few. Yep, they're getting buried under by the stuff I haven't cleaned up, but there are some asparagus in here trying to come up. There's also kale, looks like red Russian, very hardy. Seeds itself comes back every year. Tiny because I haven't fed this ground at all, but it's there. Now this is exciting. This is one of my fall plantings of a peony, the Carl Rosenfeld. It is so healthy looking. I also transplanted a few of my other peonies that were in another area that were doing terrible, and at least one looks like it's coming back. I can't tell about any of the others because they're covered in a bunch of stuff. So there should be one in there, but I'll have to wait and see when I get in here to see if that survived the winter. There's another plant back there I have to get to in a second to show you what it is. Rhubarb. I don't know what it is. Is it me? Oh, it's not me. It's the ground. But these rhubarbs always going to flower like lickety split. But there's some nice rhubarb stalks right there. Hooray. All right, let me get through some of this. I gotta find another way. Too much growth. Go around. Ugh, snakes are everywhere. Not bad snakes, they're just catch me by surprise. All right, let's see. Now this is, please, no good, I still didn't check. A honeysuckle. Yay, the honeysuckle survived. So beautiful. So excited. All right, that's great. So this is for the dog so she doesn't pick them up. Oh, another plant that I'm not sure survived. Let me get over there. Yay, it survived, the clematis. I have it back here. This isn't a pot because the ground here is just garbage. It's just clay and sloped. So I put this in a pot and it's doing well. I'm so excited. That might be a goner, but it's not. All right, so right now we're inside one of the fenced in spaces. Now this line along the fence has wine cap mushrooms. I had such a bounty last year. Hopefully we'll have the same this year if we get enough rain. This is where I usually plant my tomatoes. That has usually worked well. Let's hope that continues. Now these beds I topped off, except for that. That's like an L shape, but you can't really tell. That needs to be topped off. In recent years, I planted corn in these two. So I'm going to rotate them to the front bed over there and then rotate everything else. So like usually the bigger greens. What else do I plant here? Okra and eggplants will now reside in these beds. And then this area, mostly raised beds and grow bags. This whole bed is dedicated to garlic. Now I was afraid that I'd lost all the garlic over there, but no, they were just super slow. These are elephant garlic, so they just took their time growing. And then we have hard neck, soft neck. What I am sure failed are the nuts, because they should be all along the edge here and also in this grow bag. And I've seen absolutely no activity. So I think the nuts either maybe need another year or they're just duds. So that's fine. Now this bed's empty. It usually gets greens and stuff in it. This is also largely empty except for the overwintered. I believe they're Brussels sprouts, but I can't remember. They could be. Pretty sure they're Brussels sprouts. They're supposed to be Brussels sprouts. And then mostly empty. These are onions that, didn't do anything all of last year, but now they are. And let's see. Nope, that's just going to be something that seeds and gives me seeds. And then all these beds are currently empty. I do need to get some more potatoes in, so I'll use some of the beds for that. And most of the greens go in here. Now it is technically asparagus season for us, but they are taking their sweet time or not at all. So that one's like 18 inches tall. This one's just coming up at 6 inches. There's another one over there, but there should be a whole bunch more. This is not a good sign of how things have progressed here. there should be, there's lots of plants here, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of spears. So either it's just because, we didn't get enough rain at the right time, or what. But we do have, I missed the boat because I have so much going on that the harvest I should be getting, I'm missing out. There's another empty. Here's one of many pots of blueberries. Hopefully they'll have a better chance. I've sulfurized their soil and fed them. So maybe, just maybe, I'll get more blueberries this year. Here's a humongous asparagus that I forgot to pick. Tiny one. There's another gigantic one. Well, in general, I guess this side the of this, what is this, semicircle, is healthier, better soil composition than the side that I started on. So that could be why some of them are doing really well and some not so much. Oh, speaking of other things I grew last year, I think this one's a dud. What's supposed to be in here? This is supposed to be a butterfly bush. Aw, doesn't look like it made it. Nope, no adherence to the undersoil there. So the butterfly bush is a no-go. We'll have to replant that. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. This cherry here was more pink a few days ago. It's dropped its petals already. So there's one Nanking cherry bush. Unfortunately, I lost the other one. It looked like it was already on its way out last year, but it still gave me fruit. But it got girded where the critters chewed up the bark, too much of the bark off, and so it didn't come back. What is coming back slowly is, or what's coming up, is some of the tulips I planted last fall. So that's very exciting. There's a lot of already established greenery. I don't know exactly what these are, but they are really competing. And plus, it's super clayey here. But there's a few tulips that are popping up that I put here. And they're not in full bloom yet. So here's one that's coming up. This I planted a while back. Like there's a bunch over there that I planted last year. Yeah, it's a mishmash with the tulips, but there's more than in the past. So that's all I care about. That there's variety of colors. So a plant that never fails to disappoint is the sage. Comes back and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It needs to be cleaned up. A lot of dead branches need to be trimmed back. This is the original that we moved from our last property. There's a lot of dead on that. That's like one of the first. And then it, moved over to here. Over here, just a smattering of rhubarbs, more foxgloves, possibly mint, because I have been one of these people who can't seem to get mint to survive through the winter, the ones that I want to survive. But this could be the one. So this was in a pot, because you should pot your mint. So I buried the pot, and it looks like that might have worked. It looks minty to me. I mean, actually, yep, that's mint. So it looks like I have spearmint and peppermint in here. Of course, I can't remember which is which, but it looks like they survived. So yay! And then this is baby or daughter strawberries, and then I put some of the Alpine Wonders in here too. In this space, here's the other celery that survived through the winter. Excited about that. So technically, I don't have to plant more celery. So if I sell all my celery, all the better. And then these mostly are empty, waiting for something to be planted in them. I did put potato in here, but it was over the fall. So I don't think that made it because it was already chitting. I don't think you can plant chitted potatoes and expect it to overwinter. I do see something that looks like brassica. So I'll be interested to see what that comes up as. But there's a lot of weeds in here already. Now that's supposed to have carrots, but I have been forgetting about it and probably letting it go dry. So I see like here's one, here's a couple, here's some. Oh, there's a bunch over there. So it's going to be hit or miss like usual, and I'll have to reseed to fill in the gaps. And then that area is pretty empty as well, except for a couple of peas. Now I also seeded peas all the way. Oh, there we go. We have two coming up. Those were just soaked. They weren't pre-sprouted, whereas those two were pre-sprouted. So I thought maybe I'd lost all the other ones, but it looks like at least two are coming up. I've since soaked up some more, so I'll be plunking them in there in the coming days. Another empty bed. This is empty because critters live here, so nothing I put in here survives. But this could be where I, plunk in the over, like all those cilantro I have. I might put them in. This is one of my sunchokes spaces. It should be fine. Sunchokes typically don't have a problem um, just being on their own, unless it's a drought. Then I help it out. Here's one of the magnolias that we love also. Ooh, look, progress on the carport. There was going to be a carport, and then it was going to be shed. Now it's back to a carport. So, oh, it was going to be a greenhouse. I was really trying to get it to be a greenhouse slash shed, but here it is. We've got the foundation down. We just need to build it up some more, and then we can get a building up. So exciting! So here's the majority, not all, of the plants that I've been overwintering and letting them get some sun. Yeah, all of these belong outside, but they'll come back in the winter. So I found out that I was drowning my miracleberry. I thought it was draining because there's holes at the bottom, but it wasn't. It was not. It is completely soppy mess down there. Now I think this is lobelia. Oh, it is. Look at that. It self-seeded itself from this batch of crunchies. It self-seeded itself into this. So that's cute. Really. Because now I can just get rid of this and I'm going to have this. Now this Mexican mint was doing well and now it's fizzled out. So I guess I'll have to replant that. This Deliciosa Monstera needs a bigger pot. This bay needs something. Not sure what. This lantana does fine. I might repot this also, just to look at the root system. And then these are the overwintered peppers that super suffered with the aphids or whatever bugs was just bothering the heck out of them. So soon enough, they will go out into the real world soil and see if they give us any fruit. But otherwise, I've, sowed these seeds anew. So if these don't do anything, I will not be at a loss. Here's another recent sowing of some stuff or resowing. We have arugula looking very nice. The beets, because I can't just put them in the ground. Nope. Kohlrabi, we got one. Mizuna, doing well. Spinach, not so much. One only. What? And Swiss chard, only one. That's getting slow. And then here we have, I mistakenly sowed the Love Lies Bleeding Amaranth in this container. It shouldn't have, but it's coming up. I've got a couple more Brussels sprouts sprouting. The cardoon, I was giving it another go to see if the seeds were really all bad, and it looks like they are. Scallions are in here. And then I put some garlic chives in here. They haven't come up yet. These 3 cells are empty. So, they were under lights for a day or two, and then I'm like, these are cold season plants, except for that. So I was like, just put them outside. So here they are, doing their thing. And almost last, let's do this part first. Mostly nothing, but it needs to be cleaned up. I started raking, but let me see if I got this right. I thought I did. That's lemon balm. Needs to be cleaned up. This is hyssop because I still have a marker on it. And then this, dang it, I think it's bee balm, some kind of bee balm, bergamot, that one. Now that plant likes to reseed itself. So there's a clump and there's a clump. That's all the clumps. There was another clump over there. So that's a problem. And there's a clump over there. But this should be the calendula. They self-seed. I let them do their thing. They don't usually disappoint. So I'm hoping that will still be the case this year. I am working through the water collection from the season and changing it out and cleaning it because it gets mucky with algae and all that. There's another composter that needs to be sorted. Now here is where I planted or sowed a bunch of beets and spinach. The beets I have not seen. Oh, maybe one. I think I see one. The spinach are faring better. Like I see more of those. Okay, I see another beet. But it's been splotchy. And that's why I don't trust direct sowing because I never know what's going to come up. Whereas with seeding inside, I know exactly what I've got. So we have muscari in here. I didn't remember what I planted in here. So we have muscari. And then the lettuce. They got really red once I planted them out. So that was cool. They were more green inside. And also radishes that I planted in the middle there are coming up and they're getting eaten a bit. And then here are either more muscari. Yeah, it looks like more muscari. But these should be some type of garlic in the center here. Oh, let me not. Now that is the hardy Chicago fig. And it's alive. It didn't get munched on over winter, but no greenery, just little buds coming out of it. And then this one's a more established one that also didn't get gnawed on this winter. The dog did her job of keeping the population of voles down. So the plant did survive, but no greenery. Now these pots are my other sunchokes. They've already started coming up. So there will be a lot of little sunchokes in here because I crammed in a bunch of tubers. There's also, oh yay, this is a blackberry. It's supposed to be thornless. Where'd it go? This thing. It got nipped over winter by a rabbit, most likely, right there. It's at an angle, but it's alive. So eventually I'll still get that back. This thornless raspberry has no problems. It's here. It will probably always be here. It is, taking over, but I'm excited to get the fruits off of there. And then let me get over there. So this area, I forget, is like the first place for the asparagus to grow up. So look how tall. Oh my God, these are 2 feet tall already. I missed them completely. But, they don't all do that. So I don't know what's going to happen any time of year. Here's a spindly little one right there. So here are my winter sowed jugs. Here are more blueberries, looking good. Oh, I forgot the other blueberries. Dang it. The blueberries are doing good. Now in there should be saffron crocuses, but I won't see them until later in the season because they come up. Well, they come up whenever they want, but they don't flower till the fall. But there should also be asparagus, but I might have not done that correctly. Well, we'll find out eventually. I think that's it. Nope, let me just give you some perspective. These I left in the ground, blueberries. And this one is the most prolific of the blueberries that have given us fruit every year consistently and grown well. But compared to the others, I think everybody else is doing good as well, the container ones. So I know it's not much to show at this point, but I think that's the beauty of it, that you really get to see the big change from, early, well, mid-spring to late spring and then summer when it just completely changes and everything's full and green and just wonderful. And then you go back to emptiness. I like to see what makes it, from the winter before because it's not always consistent. Some things do not I hope you enjoyed. I certainly had fun showing it to you. Please like, comment, subscribe, and catch me on our live Gardening Plus with Healing Means. And I will talk to you all again soon. So I'll harvest more. Bye.